everybody. Oh,
hey, Anne.
Hey, can you see me?
You're in the dark.
I am?
You are.
Oh, Alex, why don't you kick it off
Let's wait
first?
for Anne to come back and welcome to the Creativity Top 5. I'm Alexandra Jardine, Associate Creativity Editor, coming to you from London, and I'm here with...
Jessica Wall, reporter in Chicago. Hi.
Hi, Jessica.
Once again, back for the fun. So hopefully Anne Christine will be back with us in a minute, but we have a lot to talk about this week. Alex, do you want to kick things off?
We do, yeah. I mean, we've had a busy week. I think we've gone straight from Super Bowl into like Valentine's and Chinese New Year, and it never stops. But we're going to start with something which is not related to either of those things. This is a campaign from Change the Ref, which is the gun safety profit founded by Manuel and Patricia Oliver, whose son died during the Parkland massacre. And it is a campaign from Mullenlow which centers around gorgeous retro-style travel postcards that look like the kind of thing you would find at a souvenir stand, but actually it's not what you'd expect. When you take a closer look, they deliver a chilling message with the name of cities which have been the locations of mass shootings in the States. I don't know if we can zoom in on that there. What I find particularly chilling about this campaign is that there is actually one for every state, because there have been so many mass shootings in the US.
Yeah, it really hits home.
Yeah. It's called Shame Cards. The idea is that people can visit the website, they can download these, either print them out or send them virtually to lawmakers to lobby for changing gun laws. That's the idea. And the idea is to sort of flood the inboxes of members of Congress. I think this is really powerful. It kind of goes with the time-honored tradition of hiding a chilling message in what looks like something kind of jaunty and upbeat. And we've seen that done in film quite a few times with these sort of campaigns. But I think it's the first time I've really seen it done in print like this.
It is. It's the first time I remember. And the use of postcards, especially right after the election, and people were sending postcards to people to try to get them to vote and that sort of thing, it builds on that momentum that we saw in the fall and even in January in Georgia. So I'm curious to see how many politicians get these and whether they push for some change. So they are, the images are just really well done. Before we keep going, I wanted to, of course, tell everybody to say hi, let us know where you're watching from, and feel free to join into the conversation. So I think that Anne Christine might come back, but Alex, you want to just keep going, and hopefully she'll join us if she can?
I will keep going with number 4, particularly as this one comes from the UK. So as we all know, it is Valentine's Day coming up, and you can see Jessica and I are wearing our pink and red stuff. And maybe it's the pandemic, but brands seem to be coming out with some unusual ideas this year. You might not think mortgages are romantic, but here is a campaign from an online mortgage firm, UK-based Habito, which conducted research and found that home mortgage stress or home buying stress seems to be a major libido killer. So in order to bring the sexy back into home buying, they created an erotic novel all about buying a house and getting a mortgage. And to do this, they teamed up with Rocky Flintstone, who, I don't know if anyone's heard of the podcast My Dad Wrote a Porno, but he is a retired builder who wrote a porno, and his son made a whole podcast about it, which is hugely popular. He wrote this book, and it's illustrated with these amazing kind of colorful, hilarious illustrations. And it is a story about a couple buying a home, and it's got some great lines, like, "I'd like to redecorate your downstairs bathroom," he said.
Oh, Anne, you're Hi, I'm back. Sorry, I went out to see if I could find a hard copy of the book.
Oh.
And I found this amazing line. It's, "Shut up and ruin my structural integrity, you naughty cowboy builder," Sylvia screamed, gyrating her downstairs combi boiler faster and faster. Oh my God. Sorry. Yeah, I'm just a fan of these books, so I had to go out and get a copy. but yeah, that was who wrote that? It was they tapped that dad.
This is guy Rocky Flintstone. Oh, and I should say the agency is Uncommon, if I didn't mention that before, who have been doing Habito's work for some time now, and they've done a lot of stuff with these like colorful, very graphic illustrations and a lot of fun. But this is definitely the naughtiest thing they've done for them.
Yeah. And
the
also,
timing is,
Yeah.
Oh, no, I was going to say the timing is pretty funny because I don't know if either of you saw the skit that was on Saturday Night Live on Saturday, the Zillow skit. Did you see that?
We did. I think we actually have a clip of it if
Great.
we can play that.
Are you bored? Looking for something to spice up your life?
Oh, yeah. You used to want sex, but you're in your late 30s now.
And sex isn't really doing it for me anymore.
You need something new.
Something exciting.
I need a new fantasy.
Then you need
Zillow.
Real estate is your sex now, and our listings are just standing by, waiting for you to browse.
An updated colonial with mature landscaping.
Unleash your passions.
I want to flip that.
Satisfy your every fantasy.
I'd never live in North Carolina, but if I did, I could buy a big, gross mansion.
So it's funny because that's the same sort of insight, right? That,
Yeah, it's this whole like property porn thing.
Yeah, like, this is what is exciting to, young couples, young families, or people who've gone beyond the honeymoon stage of the relationship. But it's funny that one becomes a Saturday Night Live skit and then another becomes an actual campaign for a brand.
Yeah. And the funny thing about the Saturday Night Live thing is that when he actually rings up the real estate person to find out about the house, it's like a real passion killer because they're just like so boring. So I wonder how well this will actually work for Habito, but I think it will definitely get people noticing the brand.
Yeah. It's interesting because we have seen a bunch of Valentine's Day campaigns come out, right? They just keep flooding it. I'm wondering if people are just getting excited about celebrating something right now since it's been so dark.
Yeah.
Adrian, our colleague, had written a whole story about it. There's like a date night at Lowe's. Was that?
Yeah, you can throw paint at each other or something. It sounds weird, but
so
you can have dinner at
date
Lowe's.
night. I mean, I guess people are so fed up with just kind of staring at each other across the kitchen table that going anywhere is exciting.
Well, and if you just bought a home, right? If you use this mortgage company and you just bought a house and you need to get some supplies for the house, make it a date night. It kind of works.
And then another thing, we covered this a while ago, right? Kraft, yet again, has another delightful Valentine's Day or holiday promotion. Jessica, you want to tell us about it again?
So Kraft has decided that mac and cheese should be pink for Valentine's Day. And I did ask for and get this special package. So you guys can see it says Bullmate, like soulmate on the candy hearts.
I didn't get it at first.
Bullmate. So I have a bowl here. I think I'm ready to do this. I'm a little nervous. I have a giant bottle of water standing by. But I did prepare the mac and cheese per the instructions. And now I have to mix in this pink stuff. So are you guys ready?
Can you show us what the pink stuff looks like?
I cannot wait to see this.
Oh. Wait, so before that, was there the orange stuff? Because it looks orange.
Yeah. I made it. You're supposed to make it according to the package instructions and then put the pink stuff in.
Oh.
The pink stuff is candy flavored seasoning mix. The first ingredient is maltodextrin, and then fructose and beetroot concentrate for some color. So let's see how this goes. You can just keep talking amongst yourselves while I stir. And it's turning a little like
you are so brave, Jessica. Bets on flavor notes, fruity pebbles. Keep it coming, audience. What does it smell like?
Well, it smells more like the cheese for now, but I'm still blending, so it takes a little while.
Okay, what does it smell like?
What it smells like. It does not smell like mac and cheese. It does not smell like candy.
It's really pink. I thought it would be paler pink than that, but it looks like really kind of neon pink.
All right. I think I'm at stirring maximum, but keep talking amongst yourselves. It does not look like the pink in that picture, I will have you know.
Okay. So before this,
it's a little, but I'm going to keep stirring. So I'll put myself on mute. I'll keep stirring, and I'll let you know when I'm ready to try this.
Okay. So prior to this, Kraft had done a different promotion for Thanksgiving, where it was pumpkin spice mac and cheese, which unfortunately we didn't get to taste. But hopefully Jessica will soon dip into it. Oh, there she is. Okay, so it doesn't look pink. It looks red to me now.
Yeah. That must be the
it kind of matches my shirt. It does not look as pink. Now, I don't know, depending on what butter you use or milk you use. I use regular butter and regular milk. This is the color. Can you see?
Yeah.
It smells interesting.
Okay. Go.
This is for science. It's been great knowing all of you. And here we go. It tastes like mac and cheese. So, all right, I'm going to take another bite. I will say the color reminds me of one of my, more popular items that I've gotten was, of course, the Flamin' Hot Cheetos mac and cheese, which is not Kraft, but
the flavor notes. What are the flavor notes that you're getting?
None. Does not taste like candy. Like,
it's not sweet. It's not sugary.
They said sweet in the whole campaign promotion, or candy.
So the
candy flavored.
Right. So it says, here's what they say. Welcome to the sweetest and cheesiest Valentine's Day ever. That is true. Cheesiest. Exclusive Candy Kraft macaroni and cheese, a flavor boost that will turn your bowl of noodles into a sweet pink macaroni and cheesy treat. I'm not tasting
So it's not a flavor boost. It's just a color boost. You could just throw in it.
It doesn't taste very sweet. It kind of tastes like, this is going to be weird, but and I never did this, but when my kids were little, I remember parents like pureeing vegetables to stir into the mac and cheese to get their kids to eat vegetables.
Mm-hmm.
And it tastes just like, not like mac and cheese, but not sweet.
It sounds like maybe the beetroot is a dominant flavor and not.
Oh, wait. Oh, I just got a little pocket.
Maybe it's a trick. It's a trick to get your kids to eat mac and cheese.
Oh, I just got a sweet part.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe I just need to stir it more, but tastes like the end of a sweet tart.
Weird. So
it's
like
if
you threw some mac and cheese in your mouth with a sweet tart?
Yeah, with like the little crumble of a sweet tart that's left after you've eaten it.
Oh,
it's not bad. I would eat this. I would buy it.
Okay.
I would buy it. So yeah.
As you continue indulging in that, we have some shout outs. We have Ram from India, Abdul from Pakistan, Vladimir from Brazil, Athena from New York. Hey, Athena. I think you're a regular. Fabrice from France, Saad from Morocco, Ayman from Tunisia, Julie from California, and Wendy from North Carolina, and a couple more that are showing up on screen. Hi, all. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, everybody.
Hi. Yeah, okay. So let's move on from mac and cheese to another food campaign that we have. Jessica, you want to tell us about that?
Sure. So this is from David, Madrid, and Miami. It's for Dole, and these are called malnutrition labels. Why don't we take a look at the video, and then I can sort of explain it a little bit.
Wow.
Probably I don't read the nutrition labels as frequently as I should.
So
I had
these
no
are
idea.
billboards
That's
that were put up. Yeah, and you can read them. Chronic disease, lack of exercise, and they were put up in food insecure cities across the United States. So to force people to see what is going on with nutrition in this country. So with David, Madrid, and Miami, they put these massive nutrition labels on the sides of buildings. They were up in LA and New York and in Baltimore. So it was a conversation starter. It wasn't really a thing about packaged fruit at all. But Dole came out with some goals that they announced last year, things around being better for people, better for the planet, and better for stakeholders. And so the thing about better for people is they're trying to push sustainable nutrition for, I think it's 1 billion people by 2025, and moving towards zero processed sugar in their products also by 2025. None of that really plays out on these billboards, though. It's just a conversation starter. So what do you think?
That's what I was wondering, because it's a really impactful execution and it will stop you in the streets. But then what I was wondering was how is Dole carrying out this message in its own actions? So that left me kind of hanging a little bit. You know, where do people go after they see these billboards?
It sort of feels like there's more to come from this, perhaps, and the next phase of the campaign.
Yeah, you'd hope so.
It makes me wonder if they're going to do anything with food banks or donations or anything like that. A lot of kids who were getting meals in schools, who now pick them up from schools and schools are closed, might be getting fruit in those meals and maybe not getting it as much otherwise. So we'll see how this progresses, but definitely conversation starters.
Yeah, and it's yet again just one of those simple ideas that seems to create a lot of impact. You know, when we see all these huge, elaborate executions or integrated campaigns, and this is kind of evidence that something simple really stands out.
It's also the use of out of home during the pandemic, which we've talked a little bit about in previous stories. So,
yeah, and you know, people question when you do out of home in the pandemic, like who's seeing it. But, you know, obviously there's a social component where this film and the images will be circulated online. So.
Yeah, and almost the most kind of striking thing about it, for the social content, is, you know, the people's reactions when they're going, oh my God, I didn't realize that, you know, this was going on in the US. That was interesting to me.
And they have masks, unlike Super Bowl ads.
Yes.
Okay, and we have more food talk. We've been talking a lot about Valentine's Day, but it is another holiday. Happy Chinese New Year, happy Lunar New Year. To celebrate that, a Panda Express and agency The Many, which is based in Los Angeles, came out with this film. So let's take a look at that.
All right.
Hello, Mr. Davis.
Hey, Mr. Lee.
新年快乐.
Happy Lunar New Year to you too, Mr. Lee. Big celebration this year?
Oh, yeah. Welcome. Jordan, would you like to join us? Don't forget to take your shoes off. Jordan, 新年快乐.
Orange chicken.
I helped with them.
How do you say that again?
新年快乐.
신인快乐.
Try some.
Oh, she got it.
Bye.
Come back anytime, Jordan.
This is a little bit different here. Grandma, miss you.
Xinyin Kuai Le, Mr. Lee.
Happy New Year to you too, Jordan.
We got some shrimp.
Broccoli beef. Did you guys know I saw Mr. Lee today?
Remember what we were saying earlier?
新快乐.
I thought this was such a sweet film. I mean, I have some issues with it, like just the like throwing the boxes of food in there. It kind of almost was a little bit jarring with the whole story because it was such a sweet story. But overall, I thought it was beautifully done. The craft was really nice, and just the details throughout the film. I don't know if you felt this, but watching that, it just made me, super hungry. all
the beginning. Oh my goodness, that table in the beginning, and each item that they're putting out there, I was like, I want that for lunch. I want that to go with my
all the home cooked stuff. Not so much.
Yeah, look beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, here's my question. Okay, I'm gonna not devil's advocate, but it's Mr. Lee who he goes to visit?
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
He doesn't need Panda Express because they make their own food, or do they not? Are they too old to make it now? Because that's really sad. In a lot of,
that's
I'm overthinking it. I realize.
That's what was a little bit awkward about it to me in the end, but it was sweet because I mean, the whole point of it, it's not, the Lees aren't the protagonists here. It's Jordan and his family. So the target audience are, consumers who probably aren't familiar with Chinese food. So it's kind of like Panda Express is the gateway food to, more Chinese food. But so I just love the cross-cultural tale. And then,
and I liked how they bridged the pandemic too. They did lightly touch on pandemic types of things.
With the Zoom call and things. Yeah. I found it quite an emotional watch, actually. Maybe I'm feeling a bit emotional this week, but I was tearing up by the end.
and what also part of the story, I think a really big part of the story, is that the many tapped an Asian American woman director, Erica Eng, to direct the film. And she's repped out of Strike Anywhere. That's a production company. And so when she was directing the film, she was very mindful about casting, making sure that Chinese or Chinese Americans were cast in the film. And also the people that she brought to her crew, she pulled a huge diverse talent pool for that, for the set design and I guess product or the art direction. So they were very mindful about keeping to tradition or being authentic in that. And, props to that, especially, like with the Super Bowl, for example, where we saw a huge lack of diversity in the directors that were picked to shoot these big spots. I mean, this is evidence that there is diverse talent out there. They can tell beautiful stories. So yeah, props for that. And also just the craft, how those scenes were captured. It kind of reminded me of, so many of the beautiful films where we've seen food portrayed, like, Eat, Drink, Man and Woman. Did you guys see that? That was, it just like harkened such imagery. So, that was well done. We also actually had another Lunar New Year spot from Apple. Alex, do you want to tell us about that?
Yes, this was a couple of weeks ago. and it is all about the Nian. Am I pronouncing that right? Which is this sort of fictional monster that people are meant to ward off, and it's about a little girl who actually befriends him and goes out to find him in the forest. It's a pretty long film, but very cute, and also made me want to eat lots of Chinese food.
Oh yeah. And that one was directed by Lulu Wang, who was also behind the fantastic film The Farewell, starring Awkwafina. If you guys haven't seen that, that's one to watch too.
That's a great film.
Yeah. Before we move on, I wanted to talk about this big rebranding that happened this past week. Jessica, you want to tell us about that?
I think we're talking about Aunt Jemima. So for those who maybe missed it in the summer, last June, Aunt Jemima was the first food brand to come out and say that it was going to retire the name and imagery of Aunt Jemima, whose past has some very racist undertones. And they took some time to figure out what they were going to rename the brand, and they decided to name it Pearl Milling Company, which is the name of the company that created Aunt Jemima pancake mix back in 1889. So the packaging looks almost identical. It just says Pearl Milling Company, and it'll start to roll out later this year. They're also doing some empowerment activities and things for Black girls and Black women as part of this overhaul. They've said that they have $1 million that they're going to be giving in grants as part of a $5 million pledge. So there's a lot of work to be done, but the filing for the trademark Pearl Milling Company came out in the beginning of February, and that's why the news was out this week. So we'll see how this starts to show up and what people think of the overhaul. It's almost like the package just has a sticker that says Pearl Milling Company on the top. Like it's exact same picture of pancakes. It's the exact same syrup bottle, but the word Aunt Jemima's was removed and replaced with Pearl Milling Company in an identical font, I believe. So
yeah, can we show that?
Yeah.
I don't know if Max.
We should have that. Yeah. There's a story from this week up on adage.com. So we'll try to pull that up while we're talking. But I think the issue that these brands have is that they have so much brand equity built into the package people are used to seeing on the shelf. We saw something similar last year when Uncle Ben's rebranded as Ben's Original. You want to hold on to the color, you want to hold on to the font to have those visual cues for people, because it's not a category that's heavily advertised, right? So it's something people it's muscle memory where it is on the shelf or what you're putting into your online cart. So you want it to look similar.
Yeah,
that's
but
my understanding of it.
In this case, the new brand names are so strikingly different that it's weird. It's really weird to see that name there in that sort of familiar packaging. Like a lot of our comments backstage, our own comments were like, it looks like a knockoff of, the original Aunt Jemima brand. People are going to probably walk through the grocery store aisles and do a double take. Like, what is that? Is that fake? So,
right. And there is that call out on the bottom of the box and the bottom of the bottle for now, like new name, same great taste or something like that. And it has the Aunt Jemima name there. So we'll see how it's received by people. There are people who are not thrilled by it. And there are people who think that the brand could have maybe gone further. There are people who think that the brand shouldn't have changed at all, that maybe they should have elevated Aunt Jemima as a powerful Black woman. So
it'll be really interesting to see what happens to their sales, won't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So before we move on, we have more shout outs. We have Nagar from Turkey, Benjamin from Mexico, Nicoletta from Ireland, Mark from Chile, Zrinka from Croatia, and Helen from Canada. Thanks for joining us. And finally, Alex, why don't you tell us about our last one?
Yeah, so at number one this week is a campaign for Xbox, Microsoft Xbox from McCann, London. This centers around something that quite a few advertisers, particularly in the UK, have tried to tackle, which is the issue of loneliness among the older generation. And it's been an issue for a few years, but obviously now with COVID and with lockdown and social distancing, it's a much huger issue than ever, with people feeling isolated. Grandparents are not allowed in the UK at the moment to meet their grandkids, and there's this terrible gap between the generations. But Xbox is doing its part to help with a campaign that tries to connect grandparents and their grandchildren to play video games, things like Minecraft and Forza. There's a couple of films which show grandparents connecting with their grandchildren, and we'll look at one of those in a second. But I think the most interesting aspect of this is that they are actually encouraging people to rebox their old consoles and they're not using and send them off to their grandparents to use. We'll talk about that in a minute. Let's take a look at the film.
Oh dear. I think I'm drunk and disorderly. The police will be after me in no time.
Have you driven in real life before?
I've driven before, but never a thing like this.
It's been good to talk to her. Slowly, I'm getting to know a few more things about her. She is a very unique character, yeah, to say the least.
We learned to swim with tins on our backs.
Why?
So that we wouldn't sink.
I've always been quite a good swimmer, but I've never enjoyed it.
Competitive sport was never my thing. I think he's realised I'm not a stick in the mud. We had a lot of fun. I seem to be a hell driver.
Wouldn't you like to do this in real life?
Explore the world, yes. This is amazing.
That was so sweet. That grandma, I love that grandma.
She's great.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I just think it's such a great idea in a way, because you would never have associated video games and grandparents. I mean, it just doesn't seem at first glance like the right thing. But then I was thinking about it and I was thinking, well, my kids love to play board games or things like chess with their grandfather. So why not this? If you can encourage that grandparent to actually take the leap, which is what they're doing with the whole reboxing thing, you know, because these people are probably not going to go out and buy one for themselves. I think that would be a step too far. But if they get sent one and they're encouraged to try it and given all the instructions, which is what happens, then why not? It could be a great way for them to connect virtually.
Yeah, I mean, my question was, how easy is it? I know instructions are part of the campaign, but how easy is it going to be for the grandparents to set the consoles up? You know, like, you know, we've all tried to Zoom with our parents. Like, my parents couldn't even figure out a Zoom link. You know, like, I can't imagine them playing online games with my kids, you know, like, so those instructions better be really good.
Yeah,
and also,
I mean,
like,
I guess it's not for everybody, but there will be people who will be keen to try this, I am sure.
Oh, there definitely will be. There definitely will be. And I think that the grandparents will appreciate the kids helping them set it up, right? I mean, that's part of the story too, is that connection, and the game is almost secondary. It's the conversations that they're having. I loved her talking about how she learned to swim. I mean, those kinds of conversations that wouldn't come up unless they were playing that game, possibly. So I think it was really great.
Yeah. And I hope that
I cannot imagine my parents playing Xbox with my kids, though. I think it would be like the spoof reel of that.
Oh, also, I hope their consoles still work, because ours usually just conk out after a couple years. But anyway, for those of you who want to look back at the work that we talked about, well, there's a QR code we'll throw up. If you just snap that, it'll take you straight to the story. And a quick reminder to you all, we have the final deadline for our A-List and Creativity Awards coming up on March 2nd. So go to the link that's on screen and you can submit your great work there. And thanks all again for joining us, and have a great weekend.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Bye.